I'm Jonathan and welcome to my channel, Jonathan's Diamond Painting and Stuff. If you're new here, welcome! And if you're coming back to me, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here. So today is my promised WIP and Chat. I've just got back to work this week and I'm really keen to chat to all of you about how things are going for me while I work on my wonderful solar system. So, also some little bits and pieces that I will be doing. Someone just commented that they wanted to see, some like videos of my completed diamond paintings from last year, and so I'm going to do that in a bit. I've also got now the completed Diamond Art Studio Advent kit, so the Christmas kit version 1. So I will show you that. Spoiler warning, that will be all the things included in that, but I will give you prior warning, that I will be doing that when I'm doing it. Okay, and come prepared, as always. I've got a cup of tea, which is in my beautiful Evil Queen mug, which my bestie Sarah got me a couple of Christmases ago, and I use at this time every day. And this has got cherry and almond by who is it? It's Golden Monkey Company, this one, and I love this tea. And actually, I filled a massive tub of it before about a month or two before Christmas, and it's like getting to the stage where it needs refilling. I have got a bit more, quite a lot more, but it's a very popular tea in this household. We like Cherry Bakewell-like things. And I've got just broken in to our light glacé fruitcake. I don't know if you can see it or not. There you go. So, and this is like an alternative Christmas cake that Delia Smith does, and it's just a lighter texture, has a lot of fruits, things in that the classic Christmas cake, which is like the traditional British fruit cake recipe, doesn't have, and we save this one for us after Christmas and after mid-January, after everyone's gone, we just break into this one, so I'm looking forward to getting my first bite of that. Okay, I will do a video overview now of where I am so far of the solar system, but it will probably include my progress from today, because I'm not going to get it up again, get the diamond painting up again, that is, before I finish today, because it's already on my desk. Okay, so I'll just give you that little overview now, and then I'll be back with you with the overhead camera in a second. Okay, bye for now! Okay, so I'll zoom in a second once we get going, but just so you can see a little bit of what I've been getting up to. I managed to kind of finish this top section of the sun and get it onto like this bit, the rim of Saturn. I'm trying to think what planet this is, actually. This is Uranus, obviously, Saturn, Earth, the Sun. I'm not sure whether these are just small comets or what, but I'll have to think about what this is as a whole, but yeah. Anyway, but we've got Jupiter coming in at the bottom here. Yeah, and I just still loving this project. I am working with one of my tram mats, which I will be starting to make soon. I'm thinking about trying to get on with them this weekend. And this is a lovely space one that I designed. These are quite limited because I don't have much of the fabric left. So if you are interested in any of my tram mats, they're just literally a bit of fabric, but they're quite nice because you can move them about on top of the canvas, not damage the drills or scratch anything, and just keeps everything nice and tidy. I'm using this is the tray from my Add More Zest Advent calendar. Just using that for like the smaller amounts of drills when I've not got very many. And for the larger amounts, when I've got a lot of blocking, I'm using this, which is my slim Bijou Bliss tray, which I have just reviewed. I'll put a link up in the top corner now, so you can see. Okay, but I like these because you've got the lid that comes off really easily, and the spout actually detaches and goes in magnetically as well, so that's lovely, and these line up so well, it's just amazing. So we'll be working between those, and this is my pen from my bestie Sarah, and this is from Jay's hand turned pens. Just a second, sorry, it's Jay's hand turned gifts, and he is on Etsy, and I am going to order another one or two of these once my no buy is over in February. But I love this. This is so nice, and finally I'm just in love with this pen. It is just so beautiful, so gorgeous, so lovely to hold, so light, and just works for me. But obviously I need more pens because I need more pens for all my ends, so I will hopefully turn them all into wooden ones eventually, but these are the Diamond Art Club premium pens with their premium metal single tips, and this is a 10 this is a 12, and this might be a 10. I think I've got an 8 somewhere, but it's just where it's gone. But yeah, so anyway, that's that. Okay, so I'm just gonna get going now. So I'll just put the light board on. I'm just gonna make sure I turned it down to the lowest so that you can see and lock it, so I'm not accidentally locking it. Right, I'll just turn this around. I've been a bit stupid. I've just left some drills in the tray, and I forgot to put them away, and I obviously put the pot away. Yeah, they're 939, and I think I placed some of them here. Yeah, 939. Yeah, always put your drills away when you're finished. Okay, I'll probably do some of these A's. So I can't honestly remember when my last WIP and Chat actually was. I know I did a post-Christmas review, but I don't know if I did a lot of chatting in that or not. I can't honestly remember, to be honest. So we'll just play it by ear, and I'll just chat to you how things are going now. So, as you know, this was my first week back at work, and just taking some of the trash out, it was pretty well organised. I spoke to my manager, my area manager, who's been really good throughout the whole process of me being off sick. We'd arranged for me to have what we call a phased return, so that means I don't go back on the same hours because I've been off for such a long time. I don't go back on the same hours I was on. I go back on a reduced amount of hours, increasing gradually until I get to like what I will be when I'm fully back and in the numbers. I'm supernumerary, which means that I'm not counted, as being in. So that just gives me the breathing space to actually get used to things before I actually fully throw myself in and get going again. But yeah, so it's been nice being back actually. So yeah, so as I was saying, I started off at 4 hours a day, 4 hours a day, and I'm working on my set days, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and it seems like my set days have all been agreed on and everything. So I went into the office because she recommended I go in the office. I could have worked from home, but I've had enough of being at home, haven't I? Really, I've been at home for the last however many, well, last 6 months. So yeah, enough of that. Yeah, so I went into the office each day, and that was quite nice because that gave me the opportunity to chat to people as they came in and out of the office. Because obviously it's a district nursing team, so people come and go over the day. There is like what we call a duty nurse, so they manage a lot of the tasks that come in, and yeah, and so they're just like overseeing things and answering queries, answering the phones, giving people support when they need it. So it was quite so. So the first 2 days, the duty nurse was in the office because the role can be done from home, but it just depends. Some people like to do it in the office, some people like to do it at home. So that was quite nice the first couple of days. Duty being the duty nurse being in, because I got a feel for how all the caseloads are looking, what's going on generally. And yeah, so it was quite a nice way to like kind of gently get used to what the lay of the land is, I suppose. So yeah, and obviously that gave me an opportunity to see a lot of my colleagues that I haven't seen for a long time. There was various hugs and nice words and everything, and yeah, so I was feeling quite positive, about everything. I had to do what many of you might know as e-learning, and it's painful. It's online training where you just go on and you have to just look at online presentations and videos and stuff, and then answer questions at the end. Sometimes you try and get to the questions if you can. Sometimes it won't let you, and I just think it's one of the worst ways of teaching that it's possible to be honest, because you can really cheat the system, and just answer the questions and not really learn a lot. And sometimes it's just the way it's presented is not in a way that you could actually retain that information. So once you've done the training, you'll probably forget most of what you were supposed to be learning. So I just think it's not a very good way of learning, but organisations have latched onto it because they've got that like if they put the e-learning there, that's it. That's all they have to do, and their employees can do the learning, and then they're counted as being compliant. Which I don't think is a terribly good way to train workforces. But anyway, that's what happens. That's what we do. We have to do it. So yeah, we just get on with it, I guess. But I had various trainings to complete this week, to be up to date, and unfortunately I've not managed to finish everything, so I'm going to need to do some next week as well. So I had a biggest one was probably a couple of the really big ones were adult safeguarding, and they'd increased the level. They wanted us to do it at a higher level than what we had been doing. So, yeah. Yeah, so the adult safeguarding, I find it's quite difficult because I go through all of it, and every time I do, it's great while you're doing it. There's a lot of information, but I just find that I struggle to retain the information, and it is so important because this is like about protecting vulnerable people, vulnerable adults, and we have a child safeguarding as well training. So we're aware, because obviously I'm not a child nurse, but I have the potential to come across children in my job, and it's really important, that I'm aware of this stuff and how to look out for the signs of the potential abuse and actually act on it appropriately. But it's a very, very scary thing because none of us want to be in a position of actually blowing a whistle if we unnecessarily. But it's obviously we want to make sure these the vulnerable are protected. So it's valuable training, but it's very overwhelming as well, and there's a lot of paperwork and complication, and because we don't do it very often, I just find it's so easy to forget what you're actually doing anyway. So we've got good support frameworks in the trust anyway, so it's a bit of a it's very long-winded, and whether it's actually that useful in the form that it is, when we forget most of it anyway because we don't do it very often. That's the only thing, So, but I did that one, and I have found it quite harrowing, a couple of the trainings, because we had one of them was autism and learning difficulties training, which this has come about because there was a young man called Oliver McGowen who tragically died, and it was really because the healthcare staff did not have the adequate training into managing people with autism and learning difficulties. And I mean, I feel like it was listening. It was not listening as well to people, and not taking on board the information that that the patient and the mother of this Oliver McGowan were giving him. It was a really, really tragic death. He died basically by being given medications inappropriately that he shouldn't have been given, and that he himself had done an advance directive not to be given, because he had a terrible reaction to them. This is antipsychotic medication, which was given unnecessarily because his learning difficulty was being viewed as the problem, when that wasn't the problem. He was having seizures, but people were not able to differentiate his autistic against his the seizures that he was having, and so they were inappropriately medicating him, and tragically this is what led up to him dying. So, and there were quite a few errors along the way. It wasn't literally like, oh yeah, it was just this medication right at the end. It was categorically all along the journey, every hospital admission there was something wrong, and it's just so upsetting. It was a very harrowing and upsetting training to do, but I'm very glad I did it, and really sending positive messages to Oliver McGowan's mother, because how she was able to see past all the awfulness of his death and her grief, and actually be able to bring something positive, because she took a petition to Parliament, and all the NHS staff needed training because we're not given formal training on managing people with learning difficulties. So she felt that it needed across the board, not just in the NHS sector, but in like health and social care as well. So yeah, so it's and that has been rolled out, and that training is good, and they have videos. Some people with various different learning difficulties and autism, and they yeah, their stories are really interesting, and some of it is upsetting, but but I mean, I like to think that I wouldn't have made the same mistakes. I do feel like I'm good at listening, and I have done like modules with learning difficulties in the past. I've worked with people with learning difficulties in the past. I have done various different placements with people with learning difficulties in the community. Like when I worked at Thornbury agency, I did some then. So I just and I think working with people with neurological conditions as well, I was predisposed to like looking after people with learning difficulties at times then. So I just think I'd like to feel that I wasn't that person, but I'm not so arrogant to think that I know everything. So I just I've enjoyed is the wrong word. I felt satisfied, I guess, that I'm able to better myself, and just make sure that I am doing the right things, and listening to people when I can, well, not just listening, just keeping the person at the forefront of this. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. No one, I feel, has a right to to assume they know what the best of a person is other than them. And obviously, if they're not able to communicate effectively, listening to their loved ones, their close family, the people, their carers, the people that are around them all the time, and know exactly what is going on, because who are we to presume? So yeah, I found that training really, really valuable, and my heart goes out to the family of Oliver McGowen, because it's awful what happened, and but hopefully the NHS and all those services that were involved can improve, and just do our very best to make sure things like that never happen again. So yeah, so that was quite harrowing, and then I had to do suicide awareness, which, as some of you may know, might have been a little bit difficult for me as well. So because I mean, during my low periods in the last 6 months, I have struggled. I've had suicidal thoughts. I won't pretend that I haven't, and I never really wanted to do. I had suicidal thoughts, but I didn't have any intention of actually doing anything about it. So it's really, really hard to explain. I've tried in previous videos. I mean, it's hard when but it's awful position to find yourself in, and I'll actually put an overlay of a trigger warning at the beginning of the video to realise, because I'm talking about quite difficult subjects. But yeah, so it's difficult subjects to talk about, and yeah, so they give you scenarios of people in suicidal scenarios, like people like a girl being picked up by a taxi driver on her way to a known suicide spot, and I think a dad ringing a son at university, and he was really, really struggling, and that really hit a lot of notes home to me, because I could see a lot of myself in that when I was younger. I never really felt suicidal when I was younger, but I have had very, very similar situations where I've really struggled with my learning and, struggled to not be overwhelmed and feel like the world is ending around me, I guess. It's, so that was quite harrowing and difficult for me to deal with. So that was a bit of an emotional morning dealing with all that. But it was really good for me to know, I've experienced it, so I kind of do know the sorts of things to say, but obviously I want to know I'm saying the right things. Even though I've experienced it, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm like, I know everything. So yeah, it was hard training, but I'm very glad I did it, and I'm glad I was able to do it. Actually, I don't normally say a bit of e-learning was actually good, but in this case, those two, the autism and learning difficulties and the suicide training, I thought they were both absolutely brilliant, and they have made me into more aware, alert practitioner, and hopefully I can use those skills, to help people. If I'm exposed to that. Yeah, so it wasn't just the suicide awareness and the autism. I think, like I said, it was the safeguarding as well. So some quite heavy training, So it was like very tiring. And by the end of, even though I was only doing 4 hours a day, by the end of that 4 hours, I was ready for a breather, because it was when you're focusing on the screen for that long, you're not used to doing that. It was quite heavy, and I think today I did medicines management, which very annoying training, and it's very frustrating because it's totally out of date, because I remember doing this training before, although it says I haven't done it, but anyway. So I do specifically remember doing it before, and they haven't changed it in like about 2 or 3 years since I last did it, and it's out of date, so I'll probably have to do it again when they get their acts together and decide to renew it. But yeah, so yeah, a little bit frustrating that, but anyway. But I got that done. I got some one on malnutrition done, which is obviously another really important thing in the community, watching out for people that are malnourished. I feel I'm quite good at that though. And I can do what we call the malnutrition universal screening tool, which is a tool that we use to identify people that are at risk of malnutrition. So we basically do a weight, or we measure their arm if we can't do a weight, because we can get an indication for like whether they're going to lose. We can get an indication for their weight from their arm measurement, and we can actually you can actually measure the length of your forearm from your like elbow to your wrist, and that gives you that can give you an approximation of your height. So you there's like a conversion chart. I think I'm about 1.7 meters or 5'7", and that means my arm should be around about 25.5 centimeters, which it is. But if you're curious about that, just Google it. And similarly, the MUAC, which is the mid upper arm circumference, you just measure that widest point on the mid upper arm, and yeah, I think if it's below 23.5, your BMI, that's by your body mass index, is likely to be less than 20. Whereas if it's above 30, it's 30 centimeters. You're likely to be overweight. So yeah, that was interesting doing all that. Getting myself up to date with all that. But yeah, so just use my Bijou Bliss tray. Okay, right. Because I'm doing a bit of blocking now. Just having a look. I've got quite a bit of this, so I'm just going to see if I've got another bag. This is 995. Yeah, 995. Okay. Might be a tiny bit of static in this bag, but I'll do the best I can. So that was all my training this week mostly. I need to do this other big bit of training. So my manager has said I can have another week if I need it, and so I think I'm going to take her up on that, because I've got one which is called my continuing healthcare training, which that's a thing in the UK where councils will offer to fund patients fully for their care, for them to be at home or in a care home, depending on their health needs. But there's lots of complicated criteria. Most of the time when I use it is when I do a fast track, and that's for a patient that's palliative. So they're approaching the end of life, and this is in the last days really where they get this funding. Often it's no questions asked, as long as you can demonstrate that this patient is dying, and doesn't have long left, then the councils will fund that, no problem at all. And I'm quite used to doing the paperwork, but it's just I've never formally done the training, and so I need to just get used to that really. And and I've been wanting to do this training for years, and I've never had the opportunity to do it. So my manager is like very much of the do it while you can, Jonathan. Come on, just take that extra week and just get it done. And so that's what I'm going to do. Well, it was my idea actually. More. I just said I really want to do this training because I've never get the chance or the capacity to be able to do it, and so that's what I'm going to be doing most of next week, I think. As to just being in and meeting people, it's been really good. So I managed to meet most of my colleagues from my own team, and that was really nice. I've my boss, my line manager, sorry, is off this week, so I'll see him next week. But I've been seeing him on and off throughout the time I've been off sick, so he's been very, very supportive. So, and we are quite good friends as well. Oops, sorry, I've just cocked that up a bit. So, but I will see him next week and get like an update into the caseload and everything, what's going on. So I'm just I've spoken to various colleagues and learnt about patients that I knew about before. Some things haven't changed and some things have. But so, and I'm a bit like cushioned obviously to reality, because I'm not gone out yet clinically, so I've not actually gone out and looked after any patients yet. So obviously the big shock factor will be when I eventually do that, which it probably might not be until the end of next week or the beginning of the following week. So we'll just have to see how things go with my training next week. But I'm not rushing things. I mean, it's quite good being in the office and just being surrounded by people and just like listening to people and what's happening with patients that I know about and with all the teams and everything. And there's always office politics as well, so it's kind of nice surrounding myself with that and just getting used to it all. So so I'll just have to see how it goes really, but at the moment I'm being quite positive. It feels good to be back, to be talking to colleagues, and colleagues have been really supportive, telling me not to let myself get overloaded, and to tell them if I do, and they'll take visits off me and stuff, when I'm back in the numbers and stuff. But I have my doubts whether it will actually be like that forever, but we'll see. But so happy, positive feelings for now. And then in the evening, after my first day, I had my first counselling session since like a couple of weeks before Christmas, which was nice. and that went really well as well, you know. So I was managing to talk to my counsel about everything that's going on, you know, and how I've now got a plan to do these videos once a week, on this, and release them on the Saturday, you know. So just that gives me a nice focus as well, because I've got to try and, like, I don't know, reassert myself that I do have a place in this world. I have a purpose, you know, because I'm a nurse. I guess that's one. I've got my nephew that I adore, and I really want to continue spending time with him. I'll talk about him a bit more in a second, and just that I've got my husband. I've got all my diamond painting that I love to do. I love to be creative at home, and I just can't wait to just get stuck into, like, designing my tram mats and doing a bit more sewing. I've got to design a quilt for my nephew, you know. So just really doing the things that I enjoy, you know, when I'm at home. Obviously trying to game when I can. I've got to keep it up with all these things, because otherwise I'll just get so overwhelmed again, and we could have a repeat. So, and obviously I've got to just keep an eye on my emotional state when things get properly back to normal at work, and make sure I can handle it, I guess. And I don't want to, you know, think about not doing this job. I want to do this job, but I've got to think about myself at the end of the day. So, and I've got to think about my patients. So I'll just have to see how it goes once I get out there. Yeah, so I went back to my mum and dad's after Christmas, and it was my mum's birthday on the 10th of January, and it's very, very rare that I actually get to spend time with my mum for her birthday after Christmas, because it's so close after Christmas. I'm often working. So as I was already off, I decided, you know, that I was going to go and see her. Well, my sister had decided she wanted to see her as well, and so we decided to, like, go there together, and you know, spend a bit of quality time with my mum and dad. And it was really lovely spending time with them, but it was a bit stressful as well, because my nephew, he was ill over Christmas, as you know, and I think he had another illness. I think he had a bit of a cold. When we were over at mum and dad's, and yeah, he wasn't happy, and he was struggling to sleep, I think, and he didn't like being on his own when he woke up at night, so he got really scared, like, when he woke up in his cot, and he just wanted to be held. You know, he wouldn't go to sleep unless he was held. So first night my sister did struggle, and then she had a bit of the breakdown that she can't do this every night, and so I did help, you know. So, well, of course I'll help, you know, and so we did it in turns. We took turns doing shifts, you know, a few hours at a time, and then I just stay up with him in my arms on the sofa watching Netflix, you know, and he was asleep soundly, you know, while I was awake. But I enjoyed that, actually. I managed to actually start a new series on Netflix, well, new to me, called Wednesday, and I absolutely loved that. I'll talk about that now. Yeah. So that could be my movie or TV review thing, can't it? So Wednesday is a character in a very, very famous set of TV series and films by Charles Addams, 2Ds, not one like mine. And they're just a weird, kooky family, and I mean, most of us must know it's Gomez, Morticia, are the husband and the wife. There is Wednesday, who's their eldest daughter. There's Pugsley, their son, that's slightly just a few years younger than Wednesday, and there's Uncle Fester, which is going as his brother, who he's bald and a bit weird and kooky as well. What was it, 7? And you've got Lurch, which is like the kind of their butler. Very, very, very tall. Looks a bit like Frankenstein. And they have Thing, which is like the little hand that creepy crawls across the floor, and it's like cut off at the top of the hand, and no one really knows where Thing came from, But anyway, this series focuses on Wednesday alone, and it stars a young actress called Jenny Ortega, and she absolutely slays this role. She is absolutely phenomenal, and I absolutely love it. And I'm just loving that it's so in depth because it's a series with more time than films and everything, and because it's just focused on her. There's so much depth to the characters, and I am super enjoying it so much, And I'm loving the development of Wednesday as a character. I mean, I am a big, big, big fan of the the Addams Family films, the ones starring Raul Julia and Angelica Houston, Christina Ricci as Wednesday, and I just absolutely adore those films. They're so kooky, they're right up my street. And it's so tragic that we lost Raul Julia before they could make a third film, because I believe there was a script for a third film out there, but unfortunately it just never happened because he died before it could come to fruition. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that at the moment, and I think I've got a couple of episodes left because I watched most of it while I was away, and I just finding the right time to watch it again, And I'm a bit weird at the moment in that I need to be doing something in front of a telly, otherwise I don't feel right doing it. When I was holding my nephew, that was kind of what I was doing, but I just need to be doing something, and I just don't know. Sorry, I just don't know what to do at the moment. I'm a bit bored of cross stitch. I don't diamond in front of a telly, although I do, but I watch different shows I've kind of seen before, and I don't mind, if I don't quite see all the bits. It's like I've just started watching Twin Peaks again, which is a really it's an old series from the 90s, I think. And this is a series that it's very, very unique. It's very quirky, and the whole thing revolves around the murder of a young girl called Laura Palmer, who was a core part of the community and hits the community of Twin Peaks really hard, and it's just it all surrounds her and what happened to her, and I've never managed to finish it, so I'm determined now that I am gonna finish it, So I'm on the second season, and I think there's a film after that, and I think there's another series that came recently, and I've got the Blu-ray to that, so I'm gonna watch all of it. I'm determined this time. But it's just so kooky. The character development is so amazing. The acting is really cool, and there's a mixture of everything, of horror, of like kind of murder investigation. There's a lot of it centers around the local police department. There's a really cool FBI agent, called Agent Cooper, and he's just is that Kyle MacLachlan? Oh, my brain. Yeah, sorry, it's Kyle MacLachlan. Yeah, and I just love him. He's just so great in it. He has a lot of personality. But yeah, absolutely loving it at the moment. Loving how quirky it is, and how, again, it's another show right up my street. But anyway, but yeah, I will continue it. Really enjoying it at the moment, and I'm gonna get to the end this time. But yeah, so so I guess, yeah, looking after my nephew when I was at my mum and dad's, supporting my sister, and yeah, we did have a great time there. We built some Lego while we were there again, you know, like I did with my friend Sarah when I went away with her before Christmas. Um, and yeah, it was just nice, you know, to just spend that quality time, I guess, you know, with Alex and with my mum and dad. And yeah, so I'm just gonna cover that. So, just thinking if there's anything else that's happened really. I picked up my novel again. Can't touch it. Can't touch on it too much because there's some quite racy themes in it. I always say if you're interested, reach out to me. But I have my Facebook group which I'll link below and you can join and then you can message me. But yeah, me and my friend Sarah edit that and I'm just trying very hard to get back into it. But yeah. And that is like kind of really important to me because it's very autobiographical in places. You know, the main character revolves around a younger version of myself. Yeah, so I'm very glad I'm picking that up again. I just needed to take a break from it while I was not in work. So yeah. I will start to wrap up soon because I think I am racking up the minutes now, and I've still got a little bit of extra bits to show you with my work in progress is, and obviously I don't want to bore you with details. I think I've been talking for quite a while anyway, but yeah, I mean, me and my husband are getting into a nice routine. We're doing some batch cooking, batch baking as well. So you know, we've got nice things and easy meals, you know, and that's working quite well. And I'm enjoying being back in my routine again, you know, so yeah. And just, you know, having a healthy share of the responsibilities, you know, in the house. But yeah, so and I'm hoping that next week will be even better, you know, so we'll just see how things go. And I'll try and keep you updated, you know, as to how things are. Okay. So I've made a little bit of progress today. I've kind of done all this section here, and I've done a few bits up here, and yeah, but you know, progress is progress. I'm going to, I'll show you, I'll do a pan of the solar system so far, so you can see how far I've come, and then I'll just do a little pan of both my literate dragon and my homes where the magic is in their permanent homes. Okay. Well, homes where the magic is will be moved when I've done the Randall Spangler other seasonal houses, like I've said in my other videos. But yeah, I just before I go, I want to just thank everyone that subscribed to me recently because I've just been absolutely overwhelmed by how many people have reached out to me, have subscribed to me. You know, I did my stash video, which was very, you know, lots of people clearly connected with my video, and so I'm so pleased for that, and I'm so pleased to be able to share my journey with all of you. And I'm just so thankful all of you are here. If you like this video, as always, please consider giving it the thumbs up. And if you're not yet subscribed to me, please consider subscribing. And hitting the bell icon and tapping all to get all the notifications. I'm so glad to have you here. And if you have any thoughts about future content or anything you'd like to see, I am planning a multiplacer video soon. Please just let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.